You said that you went to school in Deering in a one-room schoolhouse.
Yeah,
Where was that?
in East Deering.
Do you remember the name of the teacher?
Um, hmm. I'm pretty sure it was my sister.
How many other classmates did you normally have?
In the whole, I would say about 27.
What kind of, you said your father drove the bus.
Yeah,
What kind of car was it?
it was a Pontiac.
And
I can't remember the year.
describe the route that he took.
He went, he started out from our house and then he went down to the Bartlett's, Titcomb's. Then he went across and picked up Elaine Leverin. Then he went in East Derry, he picked up some 2 or 3 people. And then he went on to Deering Center and picked up Ronald Locke. And then that's about all I can remember. Oh no, he went to pick up Reggie Griffiths.
Did you bring your lunch?
Yeah.
What did you normally have for lunch?
My mother would make a sandwich. I can't remember what kind of it.
When you went to school in Hillsborough,
Yeah,
how did the Hillsborough kids treat you?
it treated really badly, and Howard Whitley couldn't take it, and so he dropped out he dropped out of school and didn't finish.
And you talked about getting your groceries at a store in Hillsborough. What was the name of that store?
Sammy Submergence.
Where was it?
He was, as you go up to the hill, he was on the left. He does. I don't think there's any building in there. Maybe.
What was it like going up that hill in the winter?
We made it a few times. That wasn't that bad, I guess.
Were the summer people mostly Deering Lake people?
Yeah.
Do you remember any names?
There's Dr. Campbell, of course, and boy, it's hard for me to remember the names. I'm sorry. I got a lot of them.
Were they all kind of?
No, they were. I mean, they were very polite to us, and but not friendly, not very warm to us.
And when Dr. Campbell started the conference center,
Yeah,
what was that like?
that was exciting because she started summer school for us, and we went to summer schools. We had training carpentry, and we read a lot, and there was a library where you could draw on. So I started reading really more serious books.
How old were you? What grade were you in when the conference center was?
I guess it was. I'm not exactly sure, but I would say I was in 6th grade. Yeah.
Did it seem like they were trying too hard at times? Were they in touch with the Deering kids, or were they? Was it more like a restaurant that they were presenting these crafts? And
Yeah, I don't know how to describe their relationship, but it was very formal. That's the thing I would remember.
And how about Dr. Campbell?
Yeah, she was very impressive. I never really knew her very much, but I did go and talk to her once, so anyway.
Jerry Donovan, do you remember him?
Yeah.
Jerry Donovan told me once that back in the Depression, if you didn't work for Dr. Campbell, you didn't work.
Yeah.
She must have held a lot of sway in the
Yeah,
town.
she certainly did. Yeah,
If I had lived in town then, that kind of would have made me a little bit angry that someone with so much wealth could.
yeah.
Did other townspeople feel that way?
I'm sure some did, but I didn't feel that way. I was kind of in awe of her.
I imagine that there were people who didn't want any part of her any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, there were some of them, and some of us admired her.
Yeah. How about her caretakers? What were they like?
Well, Sam, one of our aides, he was African American, so he was the first African American I'd ever met. Yeah, and he was really a great guy.
Now, and I wanted to ask you about all the years that you've been in Deering. Do you have a special place in Deering that you like to be?
It must just to be. You must know the name of it.
The Pinnacle?
Pinnacle, yeah.
Over Tommy's house?
Yeah, would be my favorite place.
When you moved away for work,
Yeah,
and you came back, how had it changed?
it changed quite a bit because there was different settlers. Yeah, a lot of people I didn't know, but I got to know them fairly well. Yeah.
Do you think at what point did Deering achieve equilibrium with Hillsborough in terms of a community of that?
I think in high school, it achieved, and we were some of the better students even. I didn't, yeah, when I was like a sophomore, I was equal to all the other kids. Because I was a pretty good student, yeah.
What kind of social events caused excitement?
I didn't do much in a social way. But I was friends with the kids because I was on the baseball team, so that was good. Yeah, and I never could get to the top, but I got to the graduated as a third person.
Congratulations.
I don't know.
I'm sure the competition was stiff.
Well, I'm not sure I was that bad.
I want to ask you about some weather-related events that happened that you witnessed.
Yeah.
And I know that one of them was the hurricane of 38.
Of 37, yeah.
37? Can you talk a little bit about that? Any memories you have of that?
Yeah, my father and I was standing in the shed, and we had about 200-300 chickens, and so I said, "Papi, will they come back soon?" And he said, "I don't think so." And then right across the street was a big elm tree, and it started coming toward us. And I said, "Papa, do you think it's gonna, hit us in the shed here?" And he said, "Well, just have to see." Yeah, and then we watched the wash on the road, dirt road all washed out, and so for the next weeks and so forth, I used to swim in the road in front of our house, and watching those chickens go. And that was the end of our chicken farm. Yeah, yeah, but it was just ominous. Yeah.
There was no recourse of no compensation for the loss of the chickens.
No,
Just
never was, and it was devastating. But the good news was that the WPA came in and helped build the roads back and so forth. But it was very brief in my mind. It was probably only 2-3 days. It wiped out our hands and also blew down the barn. But I think it was the Red Cross came and helped rebuild the barn. Yeah.
Where was that? Where was the farm?
Where I don't know if you know Hazel there.
Yep.
Yeah, and then the barn was right up above there, and then it was rebuilt. Yeah,
Did you have morning chores before school?
only after I was like in fourth grade.
And what were they?
Cleaning out the barns.
When you got an opportunity to go to higher education, college,
Yeah.
what was that like?
Well, I went to Keene State College, and that was a wonderful experience. Yeah.
And then from there, you had a pretty good career, pretty celebrated career.
Well, I wouldn't call it so.
Well, I'm celebrating you.
I had a good education. Yeah, it was good, very good.
But you're also able to teach,
Yeah.
which meant that you changed lives of many young people.
Well, I hope so. Yeah.
How does that make you feel?
Pretty good. Yeah. Because I wanted to go to Asia and so that's pretty much I made a career with Asian studies. Yeah.
When did you meet Jean?
I was teaching high school in New Jersey at the time. I had moved from my school and everybody thought I was crazy. I said it's one of the best high schools in the country, and but anyway, I met a friend who was a graduate of Keene, and he talked me into going to a school in New Jersey, which he described as going to be the best school in the world.
Did you come back to Deering in the summers?
Yeah.
Every summer, most summers?
Yeah, up until the time that I spent my summers in Asia.
What drew you back here?
Well, my sister lived here, and my friends were here. Dave Titticum, Howard Whitney, they were best friends. Yeah.
Who were your sisters?
Hazel and Marie, yeah.
What about Deering did you like when you came back?
Well, mostly to see my friends.
You know what I noticed when I get to the convergence of 149 and Old County Road before you go down the hill?
Yeah,
You look off and you see the wind turbines.
that's right.
What is that like to see?
That's amazing, yeah. I was really happy to see that. Yeah, we had another alternate source of energy.
You've seen over the course of your life changes to a lot of the farms here.
Yeah,
Watched them maybe cease to be farms, and now maybe some of them are beginning to be farms again.
yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that? What was it like to see the farms fall by the wayside?
Yeah, that was very sad. And I watched a lot of old farms get turned into commercial places, or else they didn't farm anymore and they got a job elsewhere. But I thought one good thing was that we developed some local home industries. Yeah, and once the computer age came, it changed our makeup completely. People either wanted to had to commute or start up their own business.
When you were young, when I talked about buying goods in Hillsborough, were there anybody in Deering that people would buy things from, or did people produce their own cordwood, maple syrup?
Yeah, it was very common.
Yeah.
And we sold cordwood up until I was in high school.
And what other commodities were bartered?
We during the war, especially, it was hard first because we were selling butter, and everybody got mad at my father because he was taking stamps, war stamps.
Did you suffer during the war?
Not really, but my mother was so nervous because she had a brother and a son-in-law and a son in the service. Yeah, so she was always nervous.
Were there any local musicians in Deering that you knew of?
Yeah, there were a couple of women I knew played the piano. We always had a piano in church.
When people gathered in Deering for social events, if there were Old Home Day,
Pretty much all the time I was here as a kid growing up. We went to the dances on Saturday night. Yeah, mostly square dances
where?
in the town hall.
And what would the musicians be?
They were just local people, but they were in the area, like in where.
What instruments would they play?
Violin mostly for the square dancing. Yeah.
You could probably get away with just a fiddle for a square dance, couldn't you?
Yeah.
And a collar.
Yeah.
Were your younger days were they punctuated by school during the week and weekends?
Yeah.
And what did you do on weekends for fun?
Mostly work.
Working on the farm?
Yeah.
Doing what?
Yeah. Summer was the worst time for me. That was haying. Yeah, we took pretty much all summer.
How mechanized was haying?
Some people had tractors, but we had a horse, and we had one horse, and Fred Brown had a horse, and so we had to swap them back and forth during haying. Yeah.
So you'd have a machine that the horse would pull?
Yeah.
And then you'd have to ted the hay with another machine, kick it up.
That's right.
How many bales would you put in?
We didn't put in any. We just had loose hay. When we filled up the barn with hay, we prayed that it would last all summer, all spring, into the spring.
Did you have a root cellar?
Yeah.
So your family canned vegetables a lot?
That's right.
What else did you store?
We stored quite a lot of meat because we slaughtered a couple of pigs. That was the main meal during the winter. Yeah.
Did you buy milk?
No.
Did you have a cow?
Yeah.
Did most people have a cow?
No. Then I would say about half the people. I didn't really keep track, but.
Was that around the time when people could have a cow or they could buy milk? It was just...
That's right. And if people had a car, they could deliver milk.
What, when you started reading seriously,
Yeah.
who did you like to read?
I liked the textbooks, I don't know, up until 7th grade. So I was really happy to see that our school had a packing suitcase, and so every month we got different books from Concord. Yeah, and that was I really liked that because every month I could get a whole bunch of books.
Did Deering have a library then?
Yeah.
Was it going strong? Was it active?
I wouldn't say it was strong, but it was a good source of knowledge. But the thing I wanted mostly was to get access to books And so during the old home days, people had throwing out books, and so I could get a bunch of books.
When you traveled outside of Deering, that wasn't Hillsborough,
Yeah,
how often would that be?
during Christmas season, we made wreaths. My mother made wreaths about, I think she would fill an order of about 400 we made. Yeah.
That sounds like a nice income.
Yeah, it was very good. Yeah.
Do you remember exciting Christmas presents that you got?
Oh yeah,
What were they?
because Uncle Si provided a good bit of our Christmas. He had a good job in Boston, New York, and so on. Yeah. So we had a good Christmas.
And you had a big meal?
Oh yeah.
What would you have?
Usually we had a turkey, but we had pork chops often too.
Did you say pork chops?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. That's great. And do you remember any special presents that you got?
Yeah. I got a tricycle when I was in 3rd grade.
And did you have stockings too?
Yeah.
What would be in your stocking?
Usually chewing gum and caramels and
How close was your nearest neighbor?
Peter Wood. For a while, Dorothy Wood lived around that corner, and it's still a house there now. Yeah.
Hard cider.
Oh yeah, what do you know about hard cider?
About what?
Hard apple cider. Hard cider.
My father made 2 barrels every year. Yeah.
Did he sell it?
Yeah.
Did you try some?
Yeah. In fact, a year I got out of college and I was working on the road. They insisted I bring cider, and my mother found out about it, and I was living with Miss Holmes, and my mother she was very mad at me, and she came one night and there was still 2 barrels left, and she went down and let all the cider out in the cellar.
Wow, what did your father say?
He was dead.
Oh. In terms of transportation, did most people have a car?
I wouldn't say most. I would think it was a minority, but I'm not sure.
When did you get a car?
When I got out of college,
Do you remember what kind of car it was?
that was a Ford coupe. No, it was Chevrolet.
And where would you go with it?
Well, on the weekends, we'd go to Hillsborough, and so I didn't have a car very often.
Would you go to Hillsborough for entertainment?
Yeah, go to the movies. Yeah,
Where was the movie? Was that Dreamland?
yeah, the movie theater. Yeah, that's where I went, because it was like 12 cents or something to get in. Yeah, I love the movies. My mother loved the movies, and so she took me quite a bit, even when I was young, going to grade school.
Do you have any memories of special people from there?
Individual people.
Yeah,
Uh,
they didn't have to be good or bad done.
okay. Chet McNally, he had a drinking problem, and he was a very close friend of my father, and oftentimes he would come to visit my father, and he was a funny guy, but a decent guy, a good guy. And I remember especially one day Chet was visiting us, and we were haying, and I was up in the field, and I said, "Papa, Chet McNally's here, but he's passed out in the where the animals eat." And so he said, "Oh, don't bother," because I was about to feed the cows, and but I said, "What shall I do?" And he said, "Oh, don't mind. Just put the hay down and put it on Chet. The cows will eat over a bit, but they won't hurt her." Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's one character. Walt Dutton was another character, and he would come to the square dances and barefooted, and yeah. But then there were other just really good people like Howard Whitney, and there were so many good people. Trying to think of.
What about George Wolfe? Was he a local guy, or was he a?
He was sort of and I didn't know him very well. Yeah.
What about Kay Bliss?
Okay. Wonderful. She was such a good woman. Yeah.
And Marguerite Dutton? Marguerite Dutton?
Oh my God, she was also good. Yeah.
I've heard people refer to her as a saint, being married to her husband, the barefoot.
Yeah, that's well done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Margaret had to put up with quite a problem, I guess, but she was faithful.
Do you think that was very common back then?
What?
Women putting up with a lot
Oh yeah.
because life was hard?
Yeah. Hard anyway, but to have to support a husband's even worse.
You were good friends with Dave Titcomb?
Yeah, he was my best friend.
I heard stories that Dave used to beat people up at the Deering Conference Center.
I heard that, but I have no evidence one way or the other. Yeah.
He was probably right, if he had to.
Probably,
Why was he your best friend?
because he was loyal.
Goes a long way, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
That's what I look for in a friend, too.
Yeah.
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 How was he loyal to you?
I mean, if older kids were beating me, he would intervene. That's one thing. And he would keep his word. Yeah. And we did a lot of fun things together. We went fishing, and I didn't like to go hunting, but he liked to go hunting, so he liked guns. I didn't like guns. But still we remained friends. When we were in New York, when we drove up here, and Gene said, see who's on the phone, and Dave Tecum was on the phone, and he was chewing. He said, "God damn it, Donnie, I voted for a Democrat for the first time in my life." Oh yeah, he was a staunch Republican. Yeah.
Yeah. And Bud, how about Bud Bartlett?
Oh, Bud, yeah, Bud was also a close son. Yeah, he and Gene were closest friends.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Why was Bud special?
yeah, yeah. He was just a genuinely good person. Yeah, he was a gentle guy, and you know, he kept his word. And you know, just so honest. Yeah,
And quite a craftsman, too.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Didn't Bud and Dave Titcomb start North Branch Builders?
Yeah,
So as you remember driving around Deering, you know, recently,
yeah.
what strikes you as any remarkable changes?
Yeah, there's so many more houses. And so many new people have moved in.
And so what is important, what would you tell those people that moved in to try to keep Deering the way Deering needs to be?
Be good to your neighbors, you know, and have a little neighborhood, you know, so we can have more of a community.
And why do you think that's important?
Well, in emergencies, we have to depend on somebody. If your house on fire or something, yeah. And plus,
What are some of the smells that remind you of Deering, that your favorite smells?
yeah, cooking and one thing, yeah. And there's lots of alarms go off.
Mm-hmm. The smell of wood smoke?
We don't run the wood stove that often, but
What are some of the smells that you remember of your youth?
my mother's donuts, and also the smell of wood cooked burning, and just kind of wood smells from the house.
We had porcupines. They liked the salt on the steps.
Oh yeah, we always had porcupines, but we could get 50 cents for a porcupine head. One night, our gang got 50 porcupines.
Wow.
Yeah.
How much money did you carry around in your pocket when you were young?
Not much. Yeah, I always had like $1 maybe. Yeah.
Did you do odd jobs for anybody, or were you too busy on the farm?
What's again?
Did you do any work for other people?
Oh yeah.
Like what?
I mowed the good Driscoll's lawn for as far as I remember. Yeah. Right down until I was in college.
With a push mower?
Yeah.
No motor?
No.
How big a lawn was it?
Wasn't that great a lawn, but good size.
Did you do anything for Halloween?
Yeah. When we were younger, but we didn't do much when I was older. But yeah, we used to go around and knock on people's door and they'd give us candy and stuff.
Did you do anything with your family that was something that only your family did, a special time of the year to remember or celebrate?
Yeah. My father was an immigrant from Sweden, and so we had a kind of a Swedish Christmas. I didn't know what it was, but it was something my father wanted to do. Yeah.
I think we're done here.
I think we're done.
That was great.
No, I didn't give any of the problematic things.
Oh.
Okay. You want to give me some problematic things? Go ahead.
They weren't problems at the time, but I think one of the worst problems I saw in the town when I was growing up was shotgun marriages, and I was really upset by that, and I kept telling my mother that like Lola went to visit her grandmother in Massachusetts. And so I asked my mother, why should he, yeah, you know, she's pregnant. And my mother said, oh, it's none of your business. And it really bothered me. And that's one reason I was going to move. I'm not going to participate in that kind of marriage. And so at the church, I kept hounding the minister that this can't go on. And we shouldn't honor marriages that are shotgun marriages. And right up until I left here, I kept telling the minister that.
Who was the minister?
Whoever happened to be the minister.
I only go back to Stan Keach.
What?
I only go back to Stan Keach.
Oh, no.
He was much later.
That wasn't happening when he was here. I'm talking about younger girls and some of the elementary school. And so I didn't quite get a movement going. Even my friends, like Dave and Howard, and they would say, don't let that bother you, it's foolish. And so all my friends were supporting it. Maybe that's kind of foolish.
I don't know. I think it's maybe something that's happened since time immemorial, huh?
Yeah, time-wise, I'm thinking about when we had school open. I'm talking about girls in the 7th, 8th grade. Yeah.
Well, I'll try to fit that into the oral history of Daring Don.
Well, you don't
Try to
have-
find some segue there. Might be challenging,
Yeah.
but
Well, that's history. It
sure.
hasn't been going on for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you very much.
Oh, you're quite welcome.
I'm glad we got a chance to do this.
Yeah.